You're watching the Weiss channel. Today I'm talking about signs of trig functions. Okay, so we're gonna go back to recalling SOHCAHTOA. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. And tan is opposite over adjacent. So looking at this 30-degree angle here, all right, I'm going to call this O, I'm going to call this A, I'm going to call this H. Okay, from this 30-degree angle, sine of 30 would be O over H. Cosine 30 would be A over H. Tan of 30 would be O over A. Each of these letters represents some number, by the way, okay? Now, this A is positive, this O is positive, H is always going to be positive, okay? But hopefully you will agree that if this A is positive, this A will be negative, right? Because this is to the left of this zero line here, right? So this is going to be negative A, right? But this will still be positive O. The H is always going to be positive, okay? So in this case, if this is 150 degrees and this is 180, this again is 30. So sine of 150, I'm just going to say is O over H, positive O over H, right? So cosine 150 is going to be negative A over H. So cosine is going to be negative here. Okay. Tan is going to be opposite over negative A. So tan is going to be negative also. So in this second quadrant here, right, this is 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. In the second quadrant, sine is the only one that's going to be positive. Cosine and tan are negative. All right. Over here, down in this region, in quadrant 3, okay, now this is negative A, but this is also negative O, right? The H is always going to be positive. Sine is going to be negative O over H, so sine is negative. Cosine is negative A over H. Cosine is negative. Tan is negative O over negative A, and a negative over a negative is a positive, so tan is positive. Okay, so we've now reviewed that all three functions are positive in the first quadrant. We've learned that sine is positive in the second quadrant. We've now learned that tan is positive in the third quadrant. Now moving on to the fourth quadrant, we have here, A is positive once again, but this time O is negative. H always stays positive. Okay, so sine is negative O over H, that's negative. Cosine is A over H, that's positive. Tan is negative O over A, so that's negative. So in this fourth quadrant, cosine is positive. Okay, so what we're saying is in the first quadrant, all of them are positive. Sine is positive in the second quadrant. Tan is positive in the third quadrant, and cosine is positive in the fourth quadrant. So your questions look like this today. In which quadrant does theta lie if the following statements are true? All right. If tan is positive and sine is negative, tan greater than 0 means tan is positive. Sine is less than 0 means sine is negative. Quadrant 3, right? Because tan is positive in quadrant 3. Where is cosine positive and sine negative? Cosine is positive in quadrant 4, right? So your answer is quadrant 4. Where is sine positive and cosine negative? Sine is positive in 2, quadrant 2. Okay? And cosine negative, quadrant 2. Where is cosine positive and tan positive? That's where all of them are going to be positive, in quadrant 1. Okay? Quadrant 1. You've been watching the Weiss channel.